NFL Draft. Yours truly, Coach Kevin Bull Jones here, Coach One Sports. We're talking about those guys that put their hands in the trenches. We're talking about those defensive linemen. Sit back, relax, enjoy. Let's talk about who are the top 5 guys in our guys that we think are the top 5 defensive linemen in the draft, whether it's an edge rusher or it's a defensive tackle, doesn't matter. A lineman is a lineman when he put his hand down or if he stands up on the edge, doesn't matter. And who other to talk about it better than a great friend of mine, Coach Joel Williams down in Florida. And he's here with us today, a veteran defensive coordinator, state championship coach down in Florida, back in the days of coaching at Miami Norland High School. Got it right again.
Yes.
Hey, see you, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Bull?
Hey, listen, all is well. We in 2022.
Yes.
We all made it to the new year. Congratulations on the anniversary.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. And the picture soon comes.
Okay, because you know I was about to go there, but I was
The picture soon comes, my brother.
That's good. Because I know I was there. But okay, thank you. Sports fans, it made me feel better. Coach Joel and I have been together coaching for so long up here in the Metro Atlanta area. Now he's down in sunny Florida. Down there, got him a state championship. But we're going to talk some defensive linemen today that he thinks are the top guys that are going to be in the draft. So sit back, relax, enjoy the show. Please subscribe, hit that click button, because once again, we're going to come at you with what's going on with this draft coming up and who are the top players in it. And more importantly, I want to bring in guys that play the position, know the position, as well as coach the position. So they can definitely come in and talk about who they think are going to be the top players in the NFL draft. So the floor is yours, my brother, Coach Joel. Go ahead. Let's talk about those guys that you think. And it doesn't matter what order that you have it in. I'm going to pass it off to you. You decide if you want to give 1 through 5 or just the top 5 or however you want to do it. A bonus guy. So the floor is yours.
Okay, sports fan. This is not really in any particular order as it relates to these guys, but these are some of the guys that I have been paying attention to over the years, and being that by nature I'm a defensive line coach, I normally pay more attention to the guys in the trenches that's putting their hands on somebody every play. Well, I'm going to start off with my guy from Purdue. A lot of guys don't really talk about George Kalafatis, but he's special. He's a special kind of guy. Man amongst children out there sometimes. Top-level physical player. Plays well outside his frame, great production of strength, great ground level guy, good hands, good placement. And don't be surprised, this guy is possibly a first-round draft pick. Remember I said it first, George Kalafatis, Purdue, University of Purdue.
Now, let me ask you something. When you talk about, Purdue football, nothing against, he doesn't have the flashiness that is portrayed with some of the other people that played this past season. And quite naturally, everybody talks about the sensational exploits of those Bulldog D linemen in the NFL Combine. But what makes him get to your list of the top guys? Because Purdue, unfortunately, they don't get the flash and the gleam like other schools do. But what is it about him that caught your eye?
Purdue did some big things this year. They beat some pretty good programs this year, knocked some people out of some bowl contention games this year. And this guy was a stand-up player the whole time. He played very consistent this year. And he kind of stood out to me. I forget which game I was watching. It was an upset game, and it wasn't just an upset. I want to say it was probably Michigan State, I think it was. Mm-hmm. One of those games they were playing, but this guy was phenomenal, just anchoring and holding it down, just like a Hutchinson would at Michigan. This guy was phenomenal, and he really stood out. And I kept my eye on him during the season, and I think he's deserving of it. And I think, just listen to me first, he may be a first-round draft pick.
What is it? Do you think he's projected more as a fourth in a even front? A 4-man front defense?
Even front.
So
he's a true defensive end.
Okay, he's old school flash. He's a
true defensive end. Put his hand in the dirt, get off.
Okay, so we shouldn't expect him be standing up, coming off the edge like LT.
No, he's not going to be that guy. He's strong as an ox, though, but he's not going to be that guy.
Okay, so your next guy, and shout out to the coaches and the defensive staff at Purdue, because like you said, now that I think about it, they did some really good things defensively against quite a few teams, and a stingy defense, and able to shock Michigan State and some other teams as well. So,
correct.
And he is on the board as one of the top guys, but it's almost like the eye test deal. Unfortunately, when you get to this part in the getting ready for the draft, it seems like all the things you did to get to the point where people recognize you. Now you got the pundits and the people that want to pick you apart in the draft to say what you don't have right. And that's kind of crazy.
that part, Coach. The kid, he really can't do anything about that.
Right.
I mean, he does everything the coach tells him to do based on the tangibles that God gave him. And he just does what he do, and he goes out there and plays football on a solid level every day, and just learning the game better. But as it relates to everything else after that, I mean, it's what it is. It's going to do what it's going to do. And, and for him, I think because they did some great things this year, they may not have been contenders themselves on a whole, but defensively, they did some great things this year, and they got real stingy with a lot of good offenses.
Gotcha. It's going to be great to see where he ends up in the draft. And of course, with all the trades and things that are going on, there's no telling where he could possibly end up in the draft, but who's to know? Okay, your next guy.
Well, I got to go down to Athens, Georgia, Big JD. That's here's a guy. He's a huge defensive tackle with great length, great hands, very explosive. He's very stingy along the line inside. He's very involved, and he enforces his will on blockers. He enforces his will on blockers that I honestly believe. I mean, I know we talked a little earlier about some other stuff, but I honestly believe he'll be the first inside guy taken off the board.
Whoa, you think so? Okay.
I think so. I think he did enough at his combine to get that noted. I think he did enough because nobody expected that big guy to run as well as he did. Mm-hmm. And everybody just thought he was a big guy. He was just big, but he showed. I want to say I know he showed some signs of fatigue in the SEC game, but when he came back and played that same team in the championship, you didn't see that fatigue unless Alabama grew a new brain and decided to come with a different offensive philosophy as it related to running inside. You didn't see the fatigue like we saw in the SEC championship game.
Well, I would have to agree with you that I believe it's either him or another person that plays for UGA that's going to be the first defensive lineman taken in the draft. But I would have to agree with you on how good this young man is. And the things that I really like about him, and you and I have talked about this, to be a disruptor and be able to move as well as he does. Now, for those that possibly wanted to question his change of direction, well, here's the deal. And you know this from a schematic point of view and coaching. When a defensive lineman is chasing the ball and we teach our guys to get in their lanes and everybody has a run fit. Well, Georgia was so good on the defensive front that even if he had to stop, redirect, pivot, redirect, and come back down the line to get to somebody, get to a ball carrier, there was already somebody there. Devontae Wyatt, the Walker kid, the Carter kid, the Smith kid, they already had somebody there to make the play. So I kind of felt like it was for those guys that want to take shots at him. I thought that was unfair because their defense was so good that he didn't have to do that most of the time. He literally scraped to the ball, destroyed the offensive lineman. He made the play.
And I know it's a play stands out of my mind. I'm trying to remember. I think it's from the championship game where those guys up front were very, very disciplined. They did their job. Those interior guys, once they reestablished the line of scrimmage, they played defense on the heels of the offensive lineman.
Right.
And if a back tried to press it and they had to redirect the back, these guys are able to show that they can pivot off and run down the line and make plays in the backfield. And he was one of those guys showing that he had that ability to do that. He moved very well for a big man. He's a really big human being, and he moves very well.
Last question about him. Do you think he's going to be a 3-down player in the NFL, or he's just going to play on rush downs, first and second down, and then he comes out during what you and I probably call cheetah package, where you bring in your quicker guys.
You bring in your quick guys.
Take him out.
That's definitely going to depend on his conditioning and obviously where he lands. If you ask me that today, and if the season started tomorrow, I said there's no way he could be a 3-down lineman. He'd have to be a 1-2 guy, come out, get your blow, and then go back and get some more next series. But clearly,
there's nothing wrong with that because they do that.
Nothing, because that's the scheme for a lot of big guys, a lot of big tackles in the league.
Well, I agree with you on that, and I do believe there's somebody from Athens that's going to be the first defensive lineman picked in the draft coming up. Okay, so let's go to your third guy.
Well, this like I say, these guys are in no particular order.
Okay.
I gotta go at Aidan Hutchinson.
Okay.
This guy, I don't know how much you know about this kid, but this kid comes from an awesome bloodline. Okay. You know, this kid's dad played for Michigan also. Okay. He comes from an awesome bloodline, great power rusher. Mm-hmm. Sound inside. He's a sound inside run defender. Okay. He plays the pass more impressive than, I guess, a lot of the edge rushers that I saw this year. Okay. A lot of the walk down guys that did that job. This guy, coach, possibly will be the first guy off the board.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Okay. What's your thoughts on why he would be the first guy?
Because he's the total package, coach. Okay. He's a run defender. He's a pass rush defender. What else do you need? You're getting two things in one guy, and he plays both at a very, very high level. Okay. The guy plays, he's very springy. Just watching this guy. That's why I was kind of disappointed.
Talk about that, coach, when you say you call him springy. I want my viewers to understand. You know, you and I talk football talk. Explain to the non-football people, but they enjoy the game and learning that all the words that we use. Explain what that springy means.
Just like it sounds. He's on his feet. He's moving around. He's getting to where he needs to be. He doesn't play flat-footed. His feet are always hot. They're always moving. He's a great personality. Right. I never met the kid, but I do know. I read enough about the kid. Watched this kid a lot. That's why I was honest with you, coach. I was kind of disappointed how he kind of disappeared in the Georgia game. He disappeared in the Georgia game a little bit.
I was about to ask you. I was about to play devil's advocate and ask you about the Georgia game when he had to play against another top offensive lineman from Georgia.
Top notch.
Yes, and he faced one of the top. And my whole argument all the time, and sports fans, you're right. I'm in the South, so therefore, do I believe some of your best players are in the South? Yes, I do. And there's nothing against the Midwest or the Pac-12 or out West, but the best as far as athleticism and the numbers of players that are pretty good. Right. I think are in the Deep South, and I did not see him perform well in who is regarded as one of a top offensive lineman. I think it was the Sawyer kid. I didn't see him.
It was. He didn't. He just. You have those games.
You want to chump that off to just a bad game because we played. Played against the national championship game.
Like I was getting ready to say, you have those games where, and the way this thing is set up. When you get to those type of games, those bowl games that are obviously leading up to the championship, the competition you're going to see is going to be something that you've obviously never seen or played against before. And I just think this is one of those games where They didn't have to fan the protection. It was just mano-a-mano, and this guy, this was a man, and this man manhandled him that game.
So
he did what
with that being said, how do you think, or why do you think he could possibly be? And that's my only question. How could he possibly be the first round draft pick and he went up against superior competition and he didn't fare well?
Not only did I say first round draft pick, I said possibly the first person off the board.
Right.
When you go to that next level, it brings me back to a time when I had a kid that we coached in high school. And he was an offensive lineman. He's still playing in the league now. When he was drafted out of college, he was the first round 9th pick overall.
Okay.
And I remember, and I wish my dear friend was alive today to tell you this happened. I was having a conversation with this coach on the field in high school, and we were practicing. And I remember telling him we were doing offensive team.
Right.
And I remember telling him, I said the kid's name. I'm not going to say it on the show because he's still playing. Okay. He's going to have some problems when he gets to the league. And the coach was like, why you say that? I said, his arms are not as long as they're supposed to be for an offensive tackle. Yeah, in high school, he's dominant. He's manhandling these kids. Right. So when he gets drafted, 9th overall, first round, he has an awesome rookie year.
Okay.
But now this part goes back to Hutchinson. Because once you have that awesome year, that awesome first year, those professional guys who scheme and do all that stuff, they now have film on you. And they now know what to look at. They know how to coach the player up against you. And when they learned how to scheme against this kid, our kid, they realized his arms weren't as short as long as they're supposed to be. So it was easier. They changed the focus. Let's stop trying to edge rush this guy and just get inside of him real quick.
Right.
Because you're gonna beat him inside because your arms are longer. And I think with Hutchinson, they'll sit in rooms and they'll scheme every week and they'll look at the weaknesses of these guys you have to go against, and they'll put him in the best position, the best situation to be successful.
So you think he's a hands down even front 4 defensive linemen pass rusher. That's what you think he is.
That's what I think.
Okay. And I think he's a great hustle kid. When you're supposed to be the number 1 pick projected by everybody, just in my eyes, then when you face what is considered the best, and they were Georgia was national champions. You have to show up and play. One of the greatest thoughts talking about is AJ Terrell when he played his bowl game, and he didn't do as well in his bowl game against Alabama. You talk about Jamar Chase and the success he had against the Alabama secondary. You talk about Derek Stingley Jr., who had big games against the big teams. It always stays in my mind. Big time players make big time plays in big time games. I just can't give him I can't ever get my mouth to say he'll be number 1. But if they let him be number 1, I think he's got a great motor. So I'm going to stay on the positive end with him. But you got to be special.
And those kids you just named, what's consistent about all those kids that you just named?
They all on national championship teams.
And they all at some point in time played against the competition that they beat.
Correct.
And this kid, Hutchinson, they've never played Georgia. I don't even think they even schedule SEC teams on their schedule. If they do, it's probably a Missouri or somebody. I'm not taking a shot at Missouri.
No, go ahead and take a shot. They need to step the game up.
Well, that's true. That too. But you understand what I'm saying. Taking nothing away from him. It was just a big stage moment, and he didn't run away from it. He just never saw a guy who can pass set the way this kid could. And he just couldn't get He just couldn't get off. He couldn't do his thing.
And now he's about to go to the league where grown men have been doing it on an all-pro level. That's how they feed their families, their extensions of the family, and the whole 9 yards, generations of family members. So now he's got to really find a way to defend, play against the best. So let's see where that goes. Let's go with your next guy.
My next guy is, like I said, no particular order, Kavon Thibodeaux, Oregon.
Okay.
You say, wow. This guy is a long edge rusher. He plays at Oregon. He has great bursts. He's very active, great hands. He plays at the bend, high power. This guy technically, I'm going to just say this right now. I said Hutchinson may be the first pick overall. I said Kalafatis may be a first-round draft pick. Kavon Thibodeaux should be the first edge rusher off the board after Hutchinson.
Wow. So I heard what you said. I heard it. Everybody watching this show heard it. But you tell me what makes him I'm gonna put you on the spot. Who's the best? Is it Thibodeaux or is it Hutchinson?
Hutchinson.
Wow. Okay. All right. And it's because of what?
Hutchinson has a hustle game out of this world. I mean, his motor just never stops.
I like it. I like that about him. I do.
Every now and again. I mean, even though Thibodeaux has a great power motor, but once he comes off that first level, it kind of sizzles a little bit.
Well, some people, I'm playing devil advocate now. Some people said that was because he was injured half the season, but you and I
possible.
Both know, football, you're gonna play hurt. You're gonna play injured.
You gotta have to. But the only thing that takes him over, the only thing about what I really like about him is where he comes from. He comes from Los Angeles, South Central Los Angeles.
Okay.
So he's a tough kid. Okay. He's a tough kid. So, and that's one of the things I like about him. I mean, just watching him a couple of times that I did. I mean, big frame, plays well with his hands. I mean, comes off with a great burst. Them first 2 steps are incredible. But the only knock on him for me, and I forget this kid's last name, this other pass rusher, but he was a 3-4 guy walking down as a pass rusher, coming from Oregon. He went to the Dolphins, and
the big kid,
Jordan. His name was Jordan something. Okay. Jordan may have been his last name, but there was a kid, a 3rd-round pick with the Dolphins when the first rounder got hurt, or maybe he didn't get hurt. But anyway, he wasn't producing.
Right.
And Olivier Vernon
gotcha.
Came off the bench, and when Olivier got his opportunity to play, the Oregon kid the first rounder never saw the field again. Never saw it again. So that's my only like if I have to say a worryation about Thibodeaux, is that. I mean, what are these Oregon pass rushers bringing to the league? You know what I mean? And that's
I agree
really,
with you. I'd like to see him play. For me, I'd like to see the best play against the best. Yes. So I like to see players line up against across from them the best players at their position, because you get a chance to see the gladiator, the warrior moments that determine, I'm going to be better than you or you're going to be better than me. And if you're going to
be better than me, you got to show me.
Correct. And if it sounds like I'm siding with if I'm siding with, teams in the South, and listen, they're very good players everywhere. They're very good offensive linemen everywhere. So when it's all said and done, how do you perform against the top echelon people, that play that position? So between the ears, there's something about Thibodeaux that worries me, because he has it sounds like, yes, he loves football, but he loves something else, which is outside of football. That's a concern for me, because a guy like that might get up one day and say, okay, I got my first contract. I got a big contract and did pretty well in the league. Now I'm ready to just shut it down. As a matter of fact, I'm going to not finish up my contract and I'm just going to get out of football. I might go into modeling, movies, or entrepreneurship. He says something about him. You know, most kids talk about, you can hear the dog in their voice, meaning how bad they want to be good at what they do. You know, Peyton Manning's famous line when he interviewed general managers and owners, his favorite line was, whoever doesn't pick me, I'm going to make you pay for it. Man, come on. Now, you tell me this kid is that good from Oregon, and you sitting up here talking about
it's not the Oregon. It's not the Oregon part. It's the LA South Central part.
Yeah, but which means if you're from LA, you from South Central, then something about your conversations with personnel directors and owners say, man, this kid sounds like he is a big dog when it comes to playing football. That's not what I get from this player, but I hope he does. He does have all the skills. I agree with you. I think he's a 3-4 guy, stand-up guy. Tell me what you think.
Yeah, I agree. He is. He's a 6'5" guy. But I think he's like 6'5". He may be 245, 248 around that range. I'm not really sure. But he's a foot taller than he's an inch taller than DeMarcus Ware was, and DeMarcus Ware's a Hall of Famer.
DeMarcus Ware was a dog. He was.
Yeah, he was.
Okay, so
he was.
Okay, so that last guy that we talked about 5. So who's that last guy you thinking about?
Let me tell you something. The only reason I didn't say this guy's name already is because what happened to him on his pro day, and that guy is David Ojabo. I don't know if you're familiar with David Ojabo, the Michigan guy. You know, on his pro day, he tore his Achilles.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. So that's the only reason. But I'm gonna tell you something. If he's treated right and done right, rehabbed and all that good stuff, he'll probably go out of 3rd round. But wherever he goes, he'll be a steal for whoever team. Because whoever drafts this kid, he'll be a starter for them for a long time.
Now, Joel, he didn't shake no leaves against Georgia either.
Neither did Hutchinson. But that you can't define these guys' whole senior career on one game.
Okay.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
And we always say you're only as good as your last play.
Right.
But that wasn't their last play. So they had their pro days and things like that. And by the way, Hutchinson had a great combine.
Yes, he did.
He had a great combine. And you see a lot of the same tangibles in both of these guys. They're both stand-up guys. So every now and again, Hutchinson puts his hand in the dirt. And what I like about Hutchinson, he'll move around, and he'll move around the front. And so with Ojabo, they will move around the front. So essentially, you won't see these guys do that in the pros because they're too light.
Right.
But they have the mindset to do that. Like you'll see Aaron Donald do that in the pros, move from inside out. He can do that. But this guy, wherever he goes, he'll be a great pickup. Great pickup.
Well, Coach, I think that you got some guys that I believe the consensus is they are going to be first rounders. The Michigan kid, the Ojabo kid, because of where he is now and the injury, for all intentional purposes, everybody knows he's probably not going to be a first round draft pick. So if you had to add another person to this list, thinking about just because of that injury situation, what last kid or another kid would be somebody that should get some high regard for being one of the top defensive linemen in this NFL draft? I know who my guys are, and you already know who they are, but I want to know who you think would be another kid.
What? I'm sorry. The guy that plays opposite Jordan Davis.
You're talking about the Devontae Wyatt.
That guy.
Woo.
That guy.
Towers High School.
Oh, really?
Yes, Towers. And my claim to fame with him was I was his last
really
in high school. Yes. Coached him in the Georgia-Florida game for the Georgia team. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, he went to JUCO, went to Hutchinson, and then he Hey, listen, you got just lit up when you said his name. He is
I didn't know he's an actual homeboy.
That's right. He's from DeKalb County.
Oh my God. Oh man, you should have got on me, man.
Yeah, I should have. I'm gonna get you now to everybody. Because when the Georgia fans see this show, they're gonna say,
oh man. You make sure you apologize for me. But
no, you're not on your own on this one. I'm not apologizing for you. He should have been on your list.
Yes. Jesus.
Yeah. You might have slipped on that one a little bit, but yes.
No,
DeKalb County.
I fell all the way down.
You're from DeKalb County.
I fell all the way down.
Okay. All right.
I fell all the way down. But yes, clearly, oh my gosh, I feel so terrible. Oh man.
Yeah.
But clearly,
fans, y'all hear this, right? These comments are going to be unbelievable when these folks get a hold of this video. Yes, he is, to me, one of the best pure defensive linemen in the draft as far as the tackles are concerned. But he can play on the outside as well now.
Coach, make no mistakes. Make no mistakes. Honestly, between him and Davis, I mean, clearly I would take Davis because I get more from him in terms of game preparation. But next to Davis, I think I would dare to say that Wyatt was probably, I'm not saying by leaps and bounds,
right?
But he would probably come off the board before Davis.
Well, here's the great part of what you just said, and I mentioned this on other shows. Just hats off to Coach Kirby Smart, defensive coordinator there, Dan Lannon, as well as Coach Trey Scott, defensive line coach at Georgia. I mean, they recruited some great kids, great work ethics, and we'll forgive you on this show this time.
Please,
sports fans, don't let him off the hook in the near future. So when you click and subscribe, please make sure you make a comment, and talk about how Coach Joel Williams forgot about another part of one of those demonstrative athletes and defensive linemen for the University of Georgia. I don't know what he was thinking, but once again, I brought him on the show to talk about his group, and he did try to prophetically apologize, but it's not going to cut it.
And one thing I want your viewers to take away from this show is these are all of my opinions.
Correct.
Based on my experience in this game of football that we all love, and based on the fact that I do have a lot of contacts that people that I talk to outside of the arena. I have people that I talk to probably on if not a weekly basis, every other week basis,
right,
from the agent side of this thing as well. So I do have friends in different offices that are directly involved with these athletes coming out of college, right, going to the draft. So, and these are just my opinions, but I am truly apologetic about oh my gosh.
I love it. Sports fans, this is one of those moments because I don't get a chance to nail him on too much because he's usually on his A game. So, but that's all right. I'm going to give him another chance when we come back on another show later on down the road. We're going to talk about needs of certain teams. Of course, we're going to hit one of his favorite teams, a couple of them, by the way. So I'll give him a chance to redeem himself. But for tonight, he did, get a chance to, be introduced to understanding that Devontae Wyatt, who, once again, there's some great linemen that are coming out in the draft, and this is his group of guys, and deservingly so. They're all great players, and who knows who's going to be the first one taken. Just great to talk about it. So thank you, sports fans, for watching. Coach, I'm glad you got a chance to sit with me a little bit tonight to talk about these players, and we're going to hold you to who. Okay, last thing before we go. Here's what I want to know. Last thing before we go, excluding the Michigan Ojabo who got injured. Of course, we know he's probably not going to be a first-round draft pick. But of the five we mentioned, including Devontae Wyatt, real quick, your last thoughts. How many of these guys do you think will go in the first round? How many?
Of my list?
Yes, of your list.
3.
3? Okay.
Yes.
Name those 3. Hutchinson,
Hutchinson, Davis, and
Thibodeaux.
I'll say 4 because I did say Kalafatis as well, the Purdue kid. He's going to be the surprise. I'm telling you. You need to pay attention to that kid.
Okay. Well, sports fans, you heard it right here on Coach One Sports with yours truly, Coach Jones, myself, Coach Williams, and Coach One Sports. You heard it from him. We're going to find out come the end of April where this all shakes out, but just from his point of view on his top 5 defensive linemen. Coach, I'm glad you got a chance we could talk about this, and we'll be doing another show soon.
Sounds good.
Some other factors on this draft. So
appreciate you, brother. Your picture is coming.
It's coming? Okay, thank you. I appreciate that because I sure have been waiting on it. Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Thank you. Okay, my brother.
We'll see you later, Coach. Good talking to you.